maybe some of the people in your life that are the best for you for the long term, the only time they ever guilt you, and maybe it's a redirection, is when they know you're going to be disappointed in the decisions you're making.
And when I say yes to something that's not aligned because I don't have the courage to say no, I ended up misaligning Kev. And that's the truth. The truth is I was misaligned, and because of that, I was overcompensating, and I didn't want to be alone in that misalignment. So misaligned people misalign people.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1598, 2 questions to ask yourself when you're down. Today, for episode number 1599, one of the keys to long-lasting friendships/relationships, but I would say relationships in the intimate fashion require a lot more keys. So, Alan mentioned this on a previous episode, and I wanted to do this episode earlier in the week, but I didn't want to go back-to-back with episodes that were very, very similar. There's this episode of King of Queens, Alan, and it's just a really good representation of what we're going to talk about today. Kevin James and his wife, I guess Carrie and Doug, as they are in King of Queens, they're on a flight, and their flight touches down, it lands a little bit hard, and the oxygen masks fall down. And Doug grabs his oxygen mask while looking at his wife and is panicking to put it on, and he's pulling the things, and he's like gasping for air, and his wife is looking at him like, what in the hell are you doing? This is a sitcom, so from this they have an argument. And the argument is, you tried to save yourself before me. How dare you? How dare you try to save yourself before me? And again, it's comical and it's low vibe, so there's a lot of back and forth. I would venture to guess a relationship like that would not ever succeed. And here's why. Especially in a friendship. One of the keys to a long-lasting friendship/relationship is the fact that the other person wants you to take care of you first. They don't want you to take care of them first. They don't expect you to show up somewhere when you don't feel well, when you should be taking care of yourself. Some of my favorite clients we have are the ones that are the most, hey, go take care of yourself. Hey, I'm not feeling so hot today, so if my energy's a little off on our call, I just want to give you a heads up. Let's just reschedule, take care of yourself. That versus, no, we need to be on a call today. If we miss, I'm going to be extremely upset. That type of stuff, there's just that control issue, that guilt issue. It doesn't really work long term. You start to resent the person. It doesn't really work. I was supposed to be in a podcast a while ago, and the person had to reschedule like 2 or 3 times. And the last time they emailed me and said, I'm so sorry I have to do this again, but it was either their grandfather or their father was in the hospital. And I said, you're good. I don't want to do the interview if you're going to be super stressed or you're going to be super sad, or if you're trading in time at the hospital with someone to do an interview with me, let's reschedule it. And they said, and this was really humbling for me, they said, I'm even more excited now to chat with you because of how supportive and how patient you are. So that's just another example of the people in your life that allow you to put yourself first are probably the people in your life that you want to have around for the long run.
This is gonna be one, Kev.
This is going to be one? Hold on. Let me lighten the air. There's my mug that have Fudge and Ace on it here for those on YouTube.
Ace and Fudge are Kevin's cats.
Yes, they are.
For those not on YouTube, it's a mug of Kevin's cats.
Yeah. I assume everybody knows the cats at this point, but that's wrong. They don't. That's definitely wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely wrong. Okay, so this is going to be one. What I mean by that is my least favorite character trait is entitlement. I was on a podcast last week, and it was with a man. I wish I knew his name. I wish I knew his first name. I can't remember his first name. The interview was awesome. Oh, it was so good. So we're scheduled for 3:30 Eastern time, and he said, listen, I'm so sorry. He emailed me. I'm so sorry, my son, I got to drive. I wasn't planning on driving today. And he was so apologetic, so kind, so respectful, not entitled at all. And then he sent a second email. On second thought, I could do 5:30. Could we do 5:30? Is that possible? But it was, again, the energy of it was very respectful and very trying to make up for having to reschedule. And I said, yeah, actually, I can do 5:30. So we ended up doing it. And on the interview, it was a really powerful interview. And this is one of those guys who has 10 out of 10 self-belief, but has no idea no one else does. But he's like a really good guy. And so that was a powerful conversation because I shared with him a lot of the things that I've realized. But anyways, in the middle of the interview, I stopped him. I said, you want to know one of the reasons I actually rescheduled this and why I did the 5:30? Even though, we were playful. Like, both of us kind of have one foot out the door because we have plans tonight, that kind of thing. He said that. I also, I'm trying not to work super late so that I don't burn down. But anyways, the point is I said, you want to know why I was so excited and why I rescheduled this? Because normally I don't have openings, and I'm very grateful when an opening happens because it's like I can get caught up on work. I said, because your email wasn't entitled at all. Your email was very respectful of my time. It's an energy. It's the way he sent the email. It wasn't, hey, I can't do 3:30 like we planned, but let's do 5.
Yep.
It was, I'm so sorry, my bad, this came up, on second thought, I could do 5:30. Could that work for you? It was not entitled. It wasn't an order. And so entitlement to me bothers me deeply. It always has. It always will. There's 2 things on this world that bother me the most. The first one's bullying, and the second one is entitlement. And entitlement is what I call the spoiled brat syndrome. When I was growing up, there were these friends of mine that I'll never forget this. They grew up, with a lot of money, and I remember we were buying dirt bikes and ATVs. I was with them. They were buying dirt bikes and ATVs, and I remember I went home and I talked to my parents, my sister, whoever. I don't remember exactly who I talked to, but I remember being like, that was really disgusting what I just witnessed. I was really disgusted at how much they were being so entitled. They were so mad at their parents for not buying all of them. There was like 2 dirt bikes, there was 3 4-wheelers, there was a snowmobile, and they were so mad at their parents for not getting all of them. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I never want to be like that. Now, I also want to preface this. When my stepdad was around from age 2 to 14, 3 to 14, before he left, we had high income. And he took with him not only his extended family, but he got the yacht and the apartment buildings, and we got the home and the dog. And I remember getting Dreamcast early for Christmas. I remember getting Xbox before everybody else. I remember getting nice things. I do. And honestly, it wasn't until after 14 when my stepdad left and I really, really, really realized that I was spoiled. And I don't think I was more spoiled or less spoiled than other people necessarily, but I mean, we went from ski trips and boats and a yacht, 90s, all that stuff, Dreamcast, Xbox, to I'm shopping at thrift stores now because we don't have enough money. I get free lunch at school now because we don't have a lot of income. I don't know how I'm going to go to college. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, I was wicked entitled. I was like really spoiled. I didn't even know it because when you're a kid, you don't even know, right? Now, there were other things about my childhood that I was not spoiled whatsoever with, but when it comes to the ski trips and the yacht and all that stuff, adventures and all that, we had snowmobiles, and that's also why, we were friends with that other group of friends that bought all the, dirt bikes and ATVs and all that. But my point of this story is not to talk about my childhood. The point of this story is entitlement is when someone else doesn't want you to take care of you. They are entitled to your time. They are entitled to you doing what they want you to do. And that's why the holidays frustrate me sometimes, because you're expected to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Who has this unwritten rule book where I'm supposed to be there because it's tradition? And again, I apologize if I'm coming off, angry at this, but Kevin and I have this framework. Kevin created it. I think we've done episodes on it. If we haven't, I know that we will.
That's a rare saying right there. We have a framework, and Kevin created it. I want everybody to jot that down. That might be the only one.
Put it on Instagram.
That might be the only time you ever hear that.
Take that clip. Oh, this is the best framework ever, man. I was so blown away when you created this. This is real good. I'll use this forever.
What can I say? I'm a bit of an engineer myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will shout you out 30% of the time.
That's okay. I accept that.
When I'm with you, I'll shout you out. No, I'm kidding. I will use this forever. I will shout you out forever. It's so good. Wrong expectations, wrong time perspective, wrong approach.
Approach is second.
That's
just FYI.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, I know you care about accuracy. I don't care, but I know you care about accuracy.
No, I do. I appreciate it. So wrong expectations is first?
Yes. All
right. In a friendship, that's the formula for failure. Okay. Formula for success is right expectations, right time perspective, right approach.
Right approach. Time perspective. It's expectations, approach, time perspective.
Everyone listening or watching this, I am sorry.
Alan loves it so much he can't remember it.
I love it so much that I jeff it. The right expectations with Kevin and I's relationship, our friendship, is that I ask Kevin, hey, do you want to come over? Hey, do you want to XYZ? I don't expect it. And I'll share one more story. Be very brief. I remember I ran into someone at the gym. I used to be too scared to share this stuff, and I'm just not anymore. I really, it is what it is. Like, you didn't wish me a birthday. Happy birthday. And I was like, I was so pumped to see this person. I was so excited. I was like, oh, hey, how's it go? Right? So pumped. Just so genuine and just pumped. It's like, oh, you didn't wish me a happy birthday. It's like, what? You expect me to remember your birthday? I don't even remember my own. I'm joking. But my point is this whole expectation thing, I have obviously a toxic relationship with, so I don't want to get my junk on the listeners. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Wherever people think that they are entitled to your time or entitled to wishing you a happy birthday or entitled to whatever XYZ, I don't have that. Whatever that thing is, I don't do that. And I joked behind the scenes with Kev before this episode. I said, 7 years in business, coming up on our 7th year. Friendship, business. I think your chair just went out again.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And I said I only guilt tripped him once, and I'll never forget it because it was so bad. I'm so ashamed of this.
You want me to
guilt
tell
tripped him. Yeah, I think you
want
should.
To tell the story?
I was entitled to your time, and I
don't think
ashamed.
That's what it was. I think you wanted to leave, and you felt bad leaving, so you wanted me to stay. Because when it's time for me to go, I go. When I gotta go, I gotta go. Alan and I had friends at one point in our life. And they were moving. And I don't want to say we got sucked into helping them, but we thought it was the right thing. We'll help you move. We're two physically active human beings who can lift heavy things. We go to the gym. That'll be something. And so we helped them move. We did a coaching call with David Meltzer in the car that day. We're literally in the parking lot before we moved the stuff to the other place. So we drive to the other place. We unload all the stuff. And that night there was UFC. There were some big fights on that night. And I was ready to go home, order food, and watch UFC. Like I already told people. I said, I'm out of here at this time. When we're done, I got to go. UFC's on. And they said, no, we're going to order pizza. Who's going to stay for pizza? And I said, I appreciate it. I'm grateful. I love pizza as much as the next guy. I got to go. I'm going to take off. And Alan said, Kev, you got to stay. Come on, man. Stay for pizza. You got to stay. You got to stay. You got to stay. And then I ended up staying. Did I care that Alan guilted me, quote unquote? No, because it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't that big of a deal. And you had such a track record at the time of always wanting me to do what was best for me. So I don't really think I even thought of it. It's not like it was a pattern. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll get home an hour before UFC instead of 2 hours. Well, it's not the end of the world. Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
I came to this realization that misaligned people misalign people. And this is nothing against our friends because I adore them genuinely, and I've learned a lot from both of them. I'm a big fan. One of them is a past client, just awesome. But that, in hindsight, was not aligned for me. And when I say yes to something that's not aligned because I don't have the courage to say no, I ended up misaligning Kev. And that's the truth. The truth is I was misaligned, and because of that, I was overcompensating, and I didn't want to be alone in that misalignment. So misaligned people misalign people. And unfortunately, when I guilt-tripped Kev, that's something that a lot of people do to a lot of people. And we try really hard not to do that at NLU. And the NLU team members can attest to this. Many of them listen to the show. And I try really hard not to make people feel guilty when they're jeffing or when they're failing forward or when they're late or when... Now, again, obviously, you have to hold a standard. So it's a duality. How do you hold a good standard of excellence, of getting better, of improving? Even right there. I mean, how many times has the chair gone out?
Too many
Right,
times.
we've done the chair thing, 50 times?
Oh, yeah, no, it's...
I'm not going to guilt you.
It's
even
a
me
whole
bringing
thing.
it up, that's not to guilt Kevin.
No.
Right? It is what it is. So,
Well, the thing is, it's if one of us sees it and the other person catches the other person's eye and one of us is smiling, that's when things tend to go off the rails. Because we like to laugh. We like to laugh.
Is there a way to be in a friendship, be in a relationship where there isn't guilt trips? That's a world I want to live in. Now, how do you hold that with the duality of also having standards and improving and stuff like that, right? So if you're in an intimate relationship, for example, the other night I worked late and I went over on a call. We did group coaching, and then Amy and I had a really good post-experience review, and we updated the whole presentation for next time and all that stuff. I end up walking into Emilia's office, and I'm just like, I was playful. I was like, shame. Because we have this thing where we both work really late, and when one of us works late, the other one works late, and we end up going to the gym late, then we get home late, then we go to bed late, then we wake up late, so it's this whole cascade effect. And I was playful, and I said, shame. But she's not going to guilt me. She's going to try to be kind and give grace. Now, if it were to happen every day, eventually she'd have to say, Alan, come on, cut the shit, right? So I'll never forget guilting Kev because I was entitled. I'll never forget guilting Kev because I can't stand people who guilt me. And the point of this episode is, how do you want what's best for the other person? Even if what's best for the other person might negatively impact you a little bit. And I know you can take that too far, but if you're in relationships that don't want what's best for you, you know it. Intuitively, you know it. And you need to can those. You need to sail away. You need to reallocate time. You need to cut the strings. You need to, whatever analogy you want to use. My life has gotten so much better, man, when I just stopped dealing with people who guilt me about stuff. The bullies and the entitled have to go. That's my God honest truth. Sorry if I talk too much on this one.
Is that your next level nugget?
Yes.
Okay.
The bullies and the entitled have to go.
I'm gonna have an interesting next level nugget, because here's the thing. You have and I want to choose my words cautiously here. If I'm off the rails jeffing, you do guilt me with my goals, as you should. You're not guilting me to make me be a way you want me to be. You're guilting me to make me be a way that I told you I want to be. So that may be that's probably a whole nother level, but a whole nother episode. But I just wanted to throw that out there because maybe, okay, change up, detour. Maybe some of the people in your life that are the best for you for the long term, the only time they ever guilt you, and maybe it's a redirection, is when they know you're going to be disappointed in the decisions you're making.
Well, that still is having your best interest at
Yes.
heart.
Yes.
And that's, I think, great leadership. And so Emilia has positively impacted my life more than anyone I've ever met. Kev, you are second on that list.
It's pretty good. Top 2, I'll take.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can stay there, though. You know what I mean?
But the truth of the matter is, you both helped me. You both have been hard on me at times to help me get what I want.
Yes.
And we playfully talk about when Kevin called me fat. But what he was really trying to say is, Alan, that ain't it, man. You're delusional, meaning you're not actually as fit as you think, and it would behoove you to get your S together, not because I want that,
right,
but because you want that.
And I started off with, I'm not telling you this because I'm in better shape than you. I am out of shape. I'm not claiming to say like, hey man, you need to pick it up from me. I'm in trouble. I don't want you, but I realize it.
Yeah.
I know I don't look that. And again, it's all contextual, and I know for some people that can be kind of a heavy thing of, you guys are in the gym all the time, and maybe you think we look good, but again, our standards are different. It's a lot of layers to that. But it was more, I know what you want to look like in 10 years. If you think you're closer than you actually are, there's no way you get there. I know I don't look good, so I don't need the feedback. You keep the feedback for yourself, son. I'm balanced.
But that's wanting what was best for me.
Of course. Always.
And I think the same with the story about the balding thing. Right, I want.
You gotta get one. You gotta get one back, huh?
No. I think this is. I knew this was gonna be one. This episode is what I so deeply believe is wrong with relationships.
Yeah.
There's no way you and I could have worked together for 7 years if we weren't wanting what was best for each other. There's no way.
No.
One of us would have to go. Like, there's just no way. And I can't pretend to be the best friend in the world, but I can tell you this. I always tried to help people achieve their goals and dreams and help. I don't feel like I was ever guilt trippy. I never was like, oh, well, you didn't wish me a blah, blah, blah. None of that. Whatever that is, I just don't have that. Whatever that thing is. So anyways, not about me, but yeah.
I was going to say, you have very low standards with that, though, I think. Like, you genuinely do forget your birthday. I mean, that is an actual factual statement. So, same with me. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. It doesn't. But I do understand why some people do. So that's that fine line. I don't want my expectations to affect other people's. Again, it's a deep level. It's a super, super, super deep level. Last thing before we go. So Tara and I eloped in Colorado, Telluride, Colorado, beautiful place. And the next month when we came home, we had a party. And we had it at a vineyard? Orchard? One of the two, where they make wine, wherever that is.
Vineyard.
And I had a moment. I talked to Tara and I said, Alan might not come, just FYI. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. And she said, wouldn't that make you sad? And I said, yeah, it would make me sad, but I understand. If he doesn't want to be there because of his relationship and struggles with alcohol, I'm all for it. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to see him the Monday after. My effing chair, man. I'm gonna see him the Monday after. It's not the end of the world. And you came, and I was super grateful, and we had a blast. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that's one of the reasons our relationship works as well as it does.
You know what's crazy? I wanted to be there because I didn't feel guilted.
So stop there because we have an episode coming up in the future that's going to be not about that specifically, but kind of about that specifically.
Okay. And plus, you had an ice cream truck and yard games. I mean, I'm there, man.
It was a big party.
I had a blast.
I can't take any credit for that. Taryn had 99% of those ideas. So she is, in a second life, she was definitely a party planner, for sure.
I had a blast. It was great. But that you weren't entitled. And when someone's not entitled, I will do all that I can with all I have to try to support them. I think that's super important. But again, I think entitlement is toxic. I do. I think entitlement is toxic.
I would agree.
And I think bullies are toxic, and that's my final say. And you can disagree with me if you want, because I don't want to be toxic, and I allow you to disagree with me 100%. But that's why I knew this was going to be one, because I spent a lot of time with a lot of people in hindsight that were very entitled. It was like, oh, you expect this, you expect that, and then I don't expect anything in return. It's just this weird thing. So
this was one.
It was definitely one.
This was one.
I hope I didn't get my junk on anybody, but...
Well, I think you called it out, and we all have different relationships with this. Next Level Nation, we are super, super excited. 10 out of 10 excited. The team was talking about the Airbnb and flights and all that stuff. Next Level Live 2024 is on March 23rd. Please hold. March 23rd, Alan, or March 24th? March 23rd.
23rd.
In Groton, Massachusetts, a beautiful, picturesque little town. And the venue is it's right near like a little mountain. It's beautiful. It is amazing. We had our first ever, I guess at the time it would have been considered our first Next Level Live, I guess in a way, back in 2018, I believe. So if you are local and you have wanted to attend a Next Level event, we're having 30 people. We've decided to shrink it down a little bit and make it more intimate, but also make it higher quality. The hotel we were having at was nice, but the food was not great, honestly. This has a buffet-style meal. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So we're selling 30 tickets for in-person. Well, take it easy. I'm not done. Take it easy. I'm not done yet. We're going to have 30 people in person, but we're also going to do a virtual side of it as well for the majority of you that are not local. So we're also going to sell 30 tickets for that. The reason we're keeping it small, even on the virtual, is because we want to be able to break up people into groups of 10.
So what I wanted to share, when you always can tell when I want to talk because I breathe in. Emilia found out that the Groton Inn is surrounded by, I don't know if it's conservation land. I don't know the proper term, but one of the reasons it's so beautiful is because it's surrounded by state protected land.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
So it's like gorgeous there. Really gorgeous. Also, we have a book club, as many of you know. We are reading The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. This book is different than what we normally do. It's a philosopher talking to a young youth who's super curious about personal growth. It's facilitating some really good conversations in book club. The last book club that we did, a lot of people thought was the most powerful because this book's a little different than what we're used to. It's a little different than High Performance Habits, right? Not different in a bad way, though. So anyways, Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single Saturday. We're coming up on our 150th week in a row. You do not have to have read the book. There were several people. One person was there taking notes with their camera on, didn't read the chapter. That's totally fine. I'm just grateful to have you there. I hope that you join us. And there's no bullies allowed. No one's allowed to be disrespectful. No one's allowed to be toxic. And it's a safe space to learn and grow. So I hope you join us.
Shout out to Jenna for the recommendation. Jenna suggested that book, I don't know, last year, maybe a year and a half ago. One of my favorite books I've ever read. Genuinely.
It's fire.
I love the depth of it. It makes you, if you want a book that's going to make you think, that is it. And I can't imagine a better place to think deep thoughts than Next Level Book Club. Tomorrow.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thanks, man.
We're going to get you a cake. We got to get you a cake for the 3-year anniversary of Book Club.
Perfect.
What kind you want?
Ice cream.
Ice cream cake?
Ice cream.
Are you going to, will you eat it on the No, you can't. If you eat in the middle of the day, you're garbage later. You just fall asleep.
I am.
Yeah, maybe
just fall asleep.
we'll get it for that night. Tomorrow, another milestone. Episode number 1600 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
2 kids from a small town who wanted to do their part to change the world. 1600 episodes later. Mind-blowing. I have no idea how we got here. What 1600 episodes taught us about success? I was driving to the gym today, and I was thinking to myself, a lot of things, but it was really, I had no idea. There's so many things that I could never possibly know without being where I am today, that even if you told me, if I told myself things at the beginning of the journey, it wouldn't land. I don't know if it could possibly land. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about success and what that really means and what I was missing, and maybe whether you're watching or listening, maybe you'll learn something too. That's always the goal. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow for episode number 1600.
Talk to you soon. Next Level Nation.